We're back after that conversation I had with David DuBois with International Association of Exhibitions and Events. Great conversation. David is always optimistic, as long as I've known him, as I mentioned, and he definitely has a laundry list of credentials that just everybody in the hospitality industry adores him. And he is from Dallas. So he's a great guy to talk to. What do you think of the conversation we had, Bruce?
I thought it was very interesting how he was pretty much saying that because I've never really seen it. I heard about it, but I never actually seen it, where he was saying that they were just working with other associations. So instead of them trying to be the sole source of everything that's happening and trying to have all the answers, they said, well, you know what, we're going to partner with other associations. I'm not sure if they split the association fees, but we're going to partner with other associations, and we're going to have the best answers because we're going to be working as a team. It's better for us to stand together than try to stand alone. So I thought that was very prominent, and I would have never thought that associations did that, because usually they're trying to pull you from other associations. You leave that association, come over here. It's like joining
Right.
a new church.
Right, yeah, and the industry is large, so we all run into each other all the time,
Mhm.
and probably belong to several different types of associations. But yeah, he's a good guy, and he does a great job representing them as well. And I loved how he talked about, although again, the pandemic is one of the main topics that we're talking about today, but he, being very optimistic, said it's all about patient activity and patient persistence. I love that, and he said, we're what, 60 to 70% back. We should be back by this year, 2022. So he's got good predictions, and I just love that patient activity, patient perseverance, and he, or persistence. He really sees and talks to a lot of people out there, so he knows that bottom line, it's just going to take us some patience.
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard to for some of us. It's hard to be as patient as others because the bills keep knocking at the door.
Yeah,
they,
it
they
does.
they 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 don't stop. They keep on coming. So but just gotta power through it. And we've been doing as he was saying, we've been doing a great job at it so far, and we're just learning more, and we're getting better. So
Yeah, and that's true. When we talked about the future trend, in person or digital, and or both, and he made it very, very clear that in person is the best, face to face. There's nothing like it, like he said. But he's still going to be yet still cautious out there. He still wears his mask. And when you're out, at the grocery store or out there, there's people still wearing a mask, and that's good, actually. I don't think, and I don't know about you, but I don't think the mask should ever go away, because if I have a cold, and I have to go somewhere because I'm committed, I mean, I'm going to put a mask on. Why not? I,
yeah.
I, I, I think that letting other people know that, hey, I've got a mask on, stay 6 feet apart. So I'm just letting you know to protect you, in other words. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree, but I live in Florida, so it's the wild west out here. Should I say the wild south? But yeah, well, most that's one thing that most people do out here is if they're not feeling well, or they just try to stay away from other people. They wear a mask. They don't let people come over their house, anything like that. If they're not feeling well and they got the sniffles or something. So that's
Yeah.
one common courtesy. So I agree.
Yeah. So it was really nice for him, being up at the top there, one of those leaders in the industry, to say, hey, I don't mind wearing a mask. It's not a big deal. I'm just, protecting myself, protecting other people. And so I have to agree. I'm going to wear a mask as long as I have to, or again, if I'm going to be sick and I have to go somewhere, I'm going to wear it. But nowadays, people that are going to be sick can actually say, look, I'm sick. I'm not going to come into the office
Hmm.
when we all get back to the office. And it's just not necessary to try to hide it or try to, come into the office and sniffling around people and getting other people sick. It's just not worth it anymore. So
You
I
remember those
commend him
days? I
for,
think you were insane to actually do that. Like we're gonna work sick and just so we don't have to call out and get everybody else infected that's around. It's like that. Those days we were a little crazy back then.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And I love the fact that he's saying, how we need to engage uh, people to come into the hospitality industry. He said colleges, universities, and even high schools. I thought that was
Nice.
really interesting. I don't think we've ever gone to the level of high schools to get them started to get groomed on what the hospitality industry is all about. So I'm thinking, wow, we've got a lot of work to do in the hospitality industry to make that happen.
But surprisingly, he was dead on when it came to high school because even my daughter, she takes a hospitality class at her high school. So the fact that they're already starting to I'm not sure if it's because I'm in Orlando and of course Disney and Universal and SeaWorld is right down the street. And maybe that may have something to do it because that's probably where they would end up working after they finish graduating high school. But get them started off young, so at least have the opportunity to learn the tricks of the trade, so they can decide if this is for them. Because at the end of the day, where I'm at, hospitality is all around you, no matter where you go. So
Yeah, it
might as well
is.
know you might as well know what's really involved with it.
Well, maybe they need to start adding classes um, in high schools to teach you know how to be even hospitable, because like you said, it's all around us. No
Yeah.
matter what industry you go into, hospitality is there. You're going to be servicing customers, you're going to be interacting with other people, you're going to be planning maybe your company meeting. I mean, there's a lot that we do that floats into companies and organizations. So maybe there should be classes. What do you think? How do we groom these younger people to come into our industry?
Yeah, if it's something that they don't just put in a certain sector like just Orlando and just expand it across the board all over the United States. I'm not sure if you watch the news, but the governor here just signed a financial bill for the teach. They can't graduate high school until they learn financial literacy.
Oh,
Yeah, like
perfect.
you have to know credit scores, balance your checkbook, so on and so forth.
Perfect.
Now, if they do that with hospitality, we won't have a problem with finding
Yeah, we
anyone.
won't have recruiting problems, that's for sure. Yeah. That's a great point. That's a very good point. So maybe that's the route. I don't know. We'll have to ask David again and what his thoughts on that, because like you said, you got to start out them young, just like children.
Mhm.
When you have your children, you got to start them out young with their good habits. Why not start them out young? Getting them ready for the hospitality industry. And I always said a prerequisite before you get your first job ever, you should be a waiter or a waitress.
Oh yeah.
Bottom line,
Oh yeah.
that should be a given. You should have that on your resume, first job you've ever had, so that you know how to deal with people and people know how to deal with you. And I tell you, it's a big difference. And I loved waitressing. I loved it. It was so much fun. But I have a full respect for the food industry because of that experience. And you can always tell when somebody has not had that experience. um, Especially if they left me a tip or not. But I love the food and beverage part of the industry. It's fascinating. It's fast going, and it's creative, and you meet a lot of people at the same time. So I always thought that would be a prerequisite.
For sure, for sure. Most of us we started off in F&B like in high school, where they'd be working for McDonald's. In high school, I worked for Red Lobster. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I used to love seeing the waiters' faces when they didn't get a tip. It was
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I had
yeah.
a cell
Good
phone
method.
camera back then, boy. Let me.
That is true. That is so, so true. So your daughter, you mentioned, is in the hospitality school thing. Is there anything particular that she likes and that you think she'll do in the hospitality industry?
Well, I we usually most of us start off in the hotels down here because it's Orlando. So I feel like
Right.
either she's gonna either do like some type of serving or probably work at a front desk, but she wants to go to school to be a lawyer. So you
Oh,
know,
okay.
yeah.
Well, this background will definitely get her going, but you never know. She might not ever leave because you know how it is with the hospitality industry. You just once you get in, it's hard to get out.
If all goes well, that'll be the goal.
Yeah, that is great. And how old is she?
She is 15.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
actually started her out young. So that's perfect. That's exactly what she needed, no doubt. And Florida is one of the top markets for meetings and events, and everybody's there celebrating GMID Day as well. And yet there's so much to do and so much fun in the Florida area that I can see why it's one of the top markets. You as well?
Oh yeah. Oh, in Florida, we have like over 4,700 hotels in the state of Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot. I did not
It's
know that. That's
it's more hotels than churches down here. So
oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Well, I
yeah.
know whenever I go to Florida, yeah, there's always a good selection of hotels to choose from, and you've got the theme parks, you've got all kinds of attractions that not only for meetings and events, but for the leisure side as well, that take advantage of coming to Florida. And I would imagine leisure probably leads over the conference world.
Absolutely, which is why I was always so confused when I seen all these conference centers. I'm like, most people come down here for the theme parks in my area, so that's it was a little shocking for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I thought David again really shared some great insight for us, and with him, and his credentials and industry wisdom, we had a good time talking about a lot of that and how to even prepare for the future as well. I thought was really interesting, and of course, I always like playing with him because I asked him during the if you heard it that during all this time that he probably had to spend maybe a week or two at home, did he help around the house? So I wondered the same question with you, Bruce. Were you helping around the house?
Oh yeah, I was helping around the house a lot. I bought all the gadgets I can find. I got a new vacuum, a mop vac, a wet vac.
Oh, so you were assigned to some duties
Oh
during
yeah,
that
oh
time
yeah.
as well.
I was trying to make it as easy as possible for me.
Well, that's great. And now that you're going to be married pretty soon, you're going to have more duties. So,
Oh yeah, oh
oh
yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
Gotta wash
Well,
the
that
car
was
after
a
this.
that yeah, exactly. That was a fun conversation with David DuBois. And now, why don't we talk about our last and final guest of the day? Are you ready for this, Bruce?
I
Um,
am
we, we've got,
ready.
we've got Jamie Nolan. She's the president and CEO of National Speakers Association, and now that this association is pretty much remote between Tempe and Minnesota, I'm sure I'm going to ask her some questions pertaining to that and what's going on with the speaking segment of the industry. So this will be a really, really fun conversation as well. And we want everyone to stay tuned for it because it's coming up next. So Bruce, don't go far.
I won't be
And
going with the last name like Nolan. You know she's gonna be throwing some fastballs.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I will ask her about that. All right. So we're here with Bruce, Jordan, and myself for the GMID22 here on Hospitality Today Live. Yes, we have our cups right here with the title sponsor, which happens to be Efficient Health Solutions, your preferred health insurance provider for the hospitality industry. EfficientHealthSolutions.com. So everyone, stay tuned. We'll be right